Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Gopijanna Vallabha Girivardhari Gopijanna Vallabha Girivardhari Yasodanandana Brajajananandana Yasodanandana Brajajananandana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga. Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga. Nitai Gauranga, Gaura Hari. Nitai Gauranga, Gaura Hari. Jai Satchinandana, Jai Satchinandana. Jai Satchinandana, Jai Satchinandana. Jai Satchinandana, Gaura Hari. Jai Satchinandana, Gaura Hari. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Jai Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva. Nitai Gaura Premanandi. Shri Caitanya-caritāmṛta ki. Shira Prabhupada Patita Pavana ki. Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru Shri Gauranga. Jai Jai Shri Caitanya, Jai Nityananda. Jai Advaita Chanda, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Jai Shri Caitanya, Jaya Nityananda. Jai Advaita Chanda, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So reading today from Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta, Adilila, 15, chapter 15, text 14. No translation in Hindi? No? At the back. Okay. So everybody here understands English. Okay. So it's in the chapter entitled The Lord's Poganda Lila. Balaheila Vishvarupa Sanyasa-caritāmṛta. Balaheila Vishvarupa Sanyasa-caritāmṛta. Pitrikura Matrikura Duhi Hudarila. Pitrikura Matrikura Duhi Hudarila. Bailahela Vishvarupa Sanyasa-caritāmṛta. Pitrikura Matrikura Duhi Hudarila. Bailahela Vishvarupa Sanyasa-caritāmṛta. Pitrikura Matrikura Duhi Hudarila. Bahala Heila. It is very good. Vishvarupa. Vishvarupa. Sannyasa. The renounced order of life. Karila has accepted. Pitrikula. Father's family. Matrikula. Mother's family. Dui. Both of them. Udarila. Delivered. Translation. My dear mother and father, the Lord said, it is very good that Vishvarupa has accepted the sannyas order. For thus, he has delivered both his father's family and his mother's family. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. It is sometimes said that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu disapproved of the acceptance of the sannyas order in the Kali Yuga because in the Shastra it is said, Ashwamedam Gavarambam Sannyasam Parapaitrikam Devarena Sutotpatim Kalopancha Vivarjayet. In this age of Kali, 5 acts are forbidden. The offering of a horse in sacrifice, the offering of a cow in sacrifice, the acceptance of the order of sannyas, the offering of oblations of flesh to the forefathers, and a man's begetting children in his brother's wife. Brahma Vivarta Puran, Krishna Janmakanda, 185-180. Nevertheless, we see that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself accepted sannyas and approved of the sannyas of his elder brother Vishvarupa. It is clearly said here, Bhal Heila Vishvarupa Caitanya-caritāmṛta Pitrikula Matrikula Duhi Hudarila. Therefore, should it be taught that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made statements which are contradictory? No, actually he did not. It is recommended that one accept sannyas to dedicate his life for the service of the Lord. And everyone must take that kind of sannyas, for by accepting such sannyas, one renders the best service to both his paternal and maternal families. But one should not accept the sannyas order of the Mayavada school, which has practically no meaning. We find that many Mayavadi sannyasis simply loitering in the streets, thinking themselves Brahman or Narayan, and spending all day and night begging so that they can fill their hungry bellies. Mayavadi sannyasis have become so degraded that there is a section of them with everything, just like hogs and dogs. It is such degraded sannyas that it is prohibited in this age. Actually, Srila Shankaracharya's principles for the acceptance of sannyas were very strict. But later, the so-called Mayavadi sannyasis became degraded because of their false philosophy, which propounds that by accepting sannyas, one becomes Narayan. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rejected that kind of sannyasa, but the acceptance of sannyas is one of the items of the Varnashram Dharma. How then can it be rejected? Om Ajnana Timidamdasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Krishna Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutare Swayam Lupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantika Om Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamaram Shri Guru Vaishnavam Cha Ek Sadvaitam Savadutam Jana Saitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padamsa Gana Lalita Shivishakam Vitamcha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Rara Kanta Namostute Taptakanshana Gorange Radhe Vrindavanishvare Vishabhanu Shuttadevi Pananami Hare Priye Anchakal Patarubhyacha Kipa Sindhu Vyaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So this chapter of Caitanya-caritāmṛta, the Lord's Poganda Lila, is very short. Not many verses, very condensed. It tells about the Lord's pastimes when he was between 5 and 10, I guess. Poganda, that's what it is, huh? 5 and 10-year-old. So it tells, actually, although it is very short, but it tells of very important instructions given by the Lord. The Lord is not limited to age for teaching. Although he's 5, he can teach the whole world, the whole universe. So the principles told here by the Lord in this Poganda Lila are quite important. One of them is how to follow Ekadasi. He's telling his mother, he's a kid. He's telling his mother, you should follow Ekadashi. And she accepts. She was not following Ekadashi before. Mother said she was not following, but because her child, bit of a child, told her to follow, she will follow. And so you want the verse where it is said, he fell down at the feet of his mother and requested her to give him one thing in charity. His mother replied, my dear son, I will give you whatever you want, whatever you ask. Then the Lord said, my dear mother, please do not eat grains on Ekadasi. So anybody who has doubts about following Ekadasi should read that. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna himself, 500 years ago, said that we should follow Ekadashi. Only the Vaishnavas actually follow Ekadashi, and even amongst Vaishnavas, not all of them follow Ekadashi, but here we really got the instruction and we should follow. So what is Mother Sachi saying? You have spoken very nicely. I shall not eat grains on Ekadasi. And from that day on, she's begun to observe fasting on Ekadasi. So that's one of the important instructions of this particular chapter. Then after, very shortly again, about Vishwarupa. How elder was Vishwarupa? How many years ahead of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, someone knows? 10 years? Something like that, huh? 10 years elder. 10, 15 maybe. He was a grown-up youth, so Jagannath Mishra, the father, wanted to get a good wife for Vishwarupa. But what happened? Vishwarupa escaped. He didn't want to get married. So Hearing this, Vishwarup immediately left home and went away to accept sannyas, and started to travel from one place of pilgrimage to another. When Sachi Mata and Jagannath Mishra heard of the departure of Vishwarup, their eldest son, they were so unhappy. But again, Lord Chaitanya, Nitai then, consoled them. My dear mother and father, the Lord said, the verse of today, it's very good, that Vishwarup has accepted sannyas. He's delivering, by doing this, he's delivering both father's family, mother's family. What to expect more? Of course, from a materialistic point of view, to not want to get married is a complete failure. That's the goal of life of most of married couples, to have their children, getting married. And here in India, I think more important even than in the West, because in the West, parents now become desperate. Children do not get married in the West. It's a fact. They are figures. When they are grown-ups, they are dragging on studies and this and that, but getting more and more frivolous. The more they study, the more they get frivolous. They start to live, eventually together, man and woman together, and they don't want to get married. And the parents, they have to accept it. So that's a fact. This is a characteristic of this Kali Yuga. In the West, culture is going in the direction, we have to be aware of this, going in the direction of attacking family principles, attacking family values. And it's a deliberate strategy of Kali to go deep into this. Like now, in my country, for instance, and in many other European countries, men can marry men and women can marry women. Yeah, you're all, finding that it's funny. But if you go against it, or if you say something against it in my country, you can go to court. You can be taken to court if you discriminate about this. That's so weird. It's going in such a direction, society. But, in France, for instance, the president who pushed for this law to be applied was himself not married. He had 5 kids, not married. He was living with the same wife. He got 5 kids from her, and he didn't want to get married. But then he pushed for this law that men can marry men and women can marry women. It's completely crazy. Completely crazy. So now we have the Vedic way of life, which, the West is hundreds and thousands and millions of kilometers away from this. They don't know anything about the Vedic way of life. Luckily, your country still has some, like Prabhupada said, dead elephant, living elephant, still value. So in India, still, Vedic way of life is still there, somewhere or other. You are more into it on a daily basis, and you can see, you can witness, but when I come here, I can see people going to temples, going to church, to mosque, whatever. people have principles here. You go to any church in my country, you have older people, young people, they don't go. Finished. And so it is, the respect of God, respect of principles, like family life, finished. And it's very serious. It's a very big attack on these principles on Kali. So we can understand how, Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Devi had, who had such wonderful sons, Vishwarup, Nitai, the first one going to take sannyas. Although 500 years ago, it was more accepted than now, I guess. Because it was, part of the scenery. So their eldest son is taking sannyas, is leaving home. And Nitai says, don't worry, he's much younger. Don't worry, you will be blessed. Your ancestors will be blessed, will be delivered. Don't worry. Let him free. So this is the second very big instruction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in this chapter. And it's very interesting that in the purport, Prabhupada talks about giving sannyas in this age of Kali. Because according to Brahma Vaivarta Puran, forbidden in this age of Kali to take sannyas. Without going into all the details why it is particularly forbidden in this age, we can understand that because the peoples taking religion so cheaply, and Prabhupada is describing here at the end of the purport, how the Mayavad sannyasi have degraded the sannyas' very elevated position in Varnashram Dharma. They have degraded it. They take it so cheaply that you become sannyas in the Mayavad, whatever Sampradaya. Some are very, very serious, very strong, very renounced. But so many, because of this wicked philosophy, that when taking sannyas, you become Narayan. So you become Narayan, but begging, Daridra Narayan. Huh? Then after it becomes very, very cheap, and some just become beggars without following, even Prabhupada says, even accepting to eat meat for sannyas. Oh, horrible. So that's the main reason, Kali Yuga being so degraded to give sannyas in this age, not recommended. But Prabhupada is not only saying, how can it be rejected? Why? Because Mahaprabhu himself took sannyas. Yes, but Mahaprabhu is God. Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself. So he's the most wealthy, but he's the most renounced as well. So, but he's coming also in this age to give instructions to the mass of people. So by doing it himself, he knows that people will follow. Sincere followers will follow this principle of taking sannyas. And Prabhupada is so confident in his disciples. This is amazing. Prabhupada has done so many wonderful things, but think of this one, how he gave sannyas to Westerners, were 20-year-old. They were in their 20s. It's amazing. We cannot understand that. Materially speaking, it's not possible to understand that. He goes in the Western world, he comes in a very degraded America, where hippies are mixing freely, men and women, and he starts a movement, slowly, telling the disciples, you have to follow principles. He didn't say that at first, but after some time, he said, okay, four ranks you have to follow. And then gives initiation, diksha, you have to follow, you have to make vows. He doesn't push on for sannyas at the beginning. 4 years, 1966 till 1970, only one sannyas, Caitanya-caritāmṛta. Made sannyas in India. So Prabhupada giving sannyas to Caitanya-caritāmṛta was already a first in a movement. Nobody really understood what it meant. It was, like Prabhupada decided to do it. It's not that Caitanya-caritāmṛta begged for it. But Prabhupada decided he had a vision, and that's what acharya means. Acharya means a vision. And vision means long time. Long time, not just, 10 years ahead, 50, 100, 1,000 years ahead. This is a vision. This is the vision that Prabhupada had. This glory of India temple, which is amazing in Delhi itself. It's the crest jewel of Delhi, this temple. Yes, Radha Parthasarthi Mandir. So Prabhupada, when he came here, he pushed Gaudas, Gaudas the first one who came here, to start a temple. Western disciple, to start a temple in Delhi. Prabhupada had a vision. He could see this temple, he could see all the other temples now, all over the world. So the same with sannyas. He really comes in the West, not just for, entertaining, like many other yogis at the time. They were coming to the West, a few of them, not many, for entertaining the people. Prabhupada didn't come for entertaining the people. He had a mission, and a tremendous, huge mission to help the world become Krishna conscious. So, some way or other, because Prabhupada was so much imbibed in the mood of Mahaprabhu, he understood, and of course he received it from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, who, by opening up Gaudiya Math in so many places in India, giving sannyas. That's also, we will not go in these details here, but our Srila Bhaktisiddhanta took sannyas himself. He's also quite, amazing. He took himself sannyas, then he gave sannyas. But he was criticized for that. Many smarta Brahmins could not accept that he was giving sannyas, because they said, hey, how did you get sannyas yourself? From whom? Which parampara? He took it himself, because nobody around was qualified to give him. So, but still, he went ahead. He didn't bother the criticism. He didn't bother. He went ahead. He gave sannyas. And he also enthused his disciples to apply the same principles wherever they were. So Prabhupada got that from him. In the West, why not? Why not in the West? As long as these people are following sincerely, they can do whatever I tell them. So that's the mood that Prabhupada had when giving sannyas first to Caitanya-caritāmṛta Swami. And then a few years went by, and Prabhupada from time to time he was talking about it, like he told Tamal Krishna at the time, why not take sannyas? And Tamal Krishna said, no, I'm not ready, I don't want. And he told a few, he told Brahmananda also. But nobody had any idea of what it meant to be sannyas. Nobody. The devotees, 4 years movement was just starting to have deities, starting to have temples. The main activity was going in Harinam, chanting 7, 8 hours a day, in the streets everywhere. Amazing how this movement has started. Chanting. And so Prabhupada could see that some of his disciples were serious, very serious, and he trusted them. So because he trusted them, at some point he was able to say, okay, I'll give sannyas to 4 of you. So I will read from this book, Radha Damodar Vilas, by Vyasaki Prabhu. This very historical moment of our movement. Because, why historical? Because so far, and Prabhupada was very, very fond of this, so far the movement was run by grihastas. And not only run, managed, but the enthusiasm generated by the grihasta couples to open centers was so intense that Prabhupada was so happy with his grihasta couples. You know the story of how he sent 3 couples to London, and he was so happy with them. And everywhere in America, all the centers which opened in America also opened by grihastas. So in the first 4 years of the existence of ISKCON has spread the teachings of Lord Chaitanya through the householder couples that Prabhupada sent out. They have accomplished what no other Vaishnavas have ever done, including sannyasis from India. You know the story, yeah? Srila Bhaktisiddhanta sending some sannyasis to London. This family, these grihasta couples, they have fulfilled Lord Chaitanya's prophecy in the Western world. Prabhupada was always planning to introduce the sannyas ashram because his mission is to establish both Bhagavad Dharma and Varnashram Dharma in the West. He has already given the sannyas order to Caitanya-caritāmṛta Swami and has seen that it is possible for Westerners to adopt this ashram. Because sannyasis can travel unrestrictedly to spread the mission worldwide, he will now expand this idea by giving sannyas to some of his other leading students. At the same time, Prabhupada has also carefully thought about establishing a governing body commission. So there is something about Brahmananda here. So Brahmananda is on the list, the 4. Gargamuni is also on the list, his brother. But at some point Prabhupada hesitates, not really sure that, because he's Galgamuni, he's always into trying to make business, and Prabhupada can foresee maybe it's not so good to give him sannyas. But because Prabhupada had spoken already to his brother, and his brother became more or less convinced of accepting sannyas, so Gargamuni also, wants to imitate the elder brother. Prabhupada also chooses Subal, the Philadelphia Temple president, as a sannyas candidate. Subal is a loner, quiet, reserved person, just the right mood for a sannyasi. He's a staunch preacher, and he has already opened 2 centers. He joined in San Francisco at the same time as Jayananda, and is considered well-versed in philosophy. He has been a devotee for 3 years and a half. Subal receives the telephone call late one afternoon. He has just finished performing a wedding ceremony of Damodar and Mriganetri, who have come up from Washington so that Subal could perform their yagya. The call is from Los Angeles with the message that Prabhupada wants him to come immediately. He has no other idea what is in store for him. He doesn't know. Prabhupada selects the 4th one, Vishnujan. He is the baby of the group, having just reached the age of 22. Although he has been in a movement less than 2.5 years, he has the taste for the holy name. Everybody, all of you, you know the story of Vishnujan. Not so much. Vishnujan was an amazing personality right from the beginning. Him and Tamal Krishna Maharaj were living in a commune, kind of hippie commune. Some of the residents of that commune in the countryside, they were living in trees, sometimes naked. And Tamal Krishna Maharaj was playing flute in his tree. And Vishnujan was playing some kind of, drum. And so that's how they met in that commune. And somewhere or other, they got very, very, very close. Without first, they had not met the devotees yet, and they committed themselves to always be together. And so after they met the devotees, but Vishnujan at that time had a wife. And not only this wife had a first child from a previous affair, but they had a daughter together. And Vishnujan delivered the baby himself with his own hands. He knew already the Krishna movement, so he delivered the baby when chanting Hare Krishna. That's amazing, because to deliver yourself the baby, you feel very, very protective, you feel very concerned. And then a few, 1 year, 2 years after that, he becomes sannyas. I don't go in all the details of the story, but the wife didn't want to join. He made everything possible for her to join, and she didn't want to join. So at some point, he asked Prabhupada, what should I do? Prabhupada said, you should try to make her into a devotee. Then if she's not interested, you go on your own way. And he was like, although so many ladies were attracted by his personality because he was such a kind of demigod. When he was chanting, he was able to chant, not only to chant, to lead the chanting with the mridanga for 8 hours a day. 8 hours a day. He had, in order to don't have blood on his fingers, he would take gloves, and at the end of the gloves, he would wrap up some coins, you know, in order to have a stronger beat. And he was just completely immersed into the chanting. So Prabhupada has seen that, and that's why he can see the taste. And everybody could see, because everywhere Vishnu Jan was leading a kirtan, everywhere the devotees were completely in ecstasy. And he was making devotees by hundreds, attracting so many young people to the movement. So he's selecting him to be the fourth sannyas. One may wonder about the position of a devotee who is ordered to become sannyas. It's not, you want to be sannyas, Prabhu? No, no, no. Prabhupada saying, I give you sannyas. No choice. These devotees, these four devotees, they took that as a blessing. And the other devotees in the movement, they didn't know anything about sannyas, so they didn't really, they thought, oh yes, they have been recognized by Prabhupada as more advanced. So there was some, some recognition by the other devotees. But most of the devotees then were so new, a few years only, in a movement that they didn't really understand Prabhupada's goal of establishing Varnashram Dharma. And Prabhupada going over this instruction, Vedic instruction to not take sannyas, not give sannyas in the Kali Yuga. So Prabhupada was out of the Varnashram Dharma system. He was completely established on the Devi Varnashram, completely situated in the topmost Krishna Bhakti. And he was able to, give sannyas to these four Westerners who didn't know anything about Vedic culture, didn't know anything about, they were very new also in the philosophy. So, but that's how far Prabhupada was able to go. And of course, after, there was emulation in the movement. A few more sannyas then after came. And Prabhupada was actually, some may criticize, he was too free in giving sannyas to people who were maybe unfit to receive it. But that was not the consideration. Prabhupada was trusting his disciples. And this is something which we can never equate, the trust that Prabhupada had in his disciples. Most of them were very neophyte, but Prabhupada was so confident, so much so that at some point in a morning walk, one devotee asked Prabhupada one day, that was in America, can't remember where, one devotee is asking on the morning walk, Prabhupada, you're a pure devotee, so how many pure devotees are there in the world? Prabhupada asked him, how many devotees in the movement? There was about 75 devotees in the movement initiated, or I don't know, I cannot say exactly, but there was approximately 75 devotees in the movement. So, these are all pure devotees. Such a trust. Srila Prabhupada ki. Such a trust. So this is why he gave sannyas to these four and gave sannyas to others after. And of course we have to understand why, because the movement is criticized often, especially by people who have more of a smarter tendency, you Westerners, giving sannyas to Westerners who are not qualified. who have not been raised in a Vedic Dharma. So the movement is criticized and challenged because of that. But we have to understand the main reason. We follow Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We follow Nitai when he was only 5, who is approving completely of giving sannyas in the Kali Yuga, although the scriptures are saying the opposite. Only he can do that, go against what is said in the Vedas, because he is the goal of the Vedas. To understand the Vedas is to understand him. Vedescha sarve aham eva vedya. So it's very instructive, this instruction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his Poganda Lila, that sannyas is okay, sannyas is bona fide, and no matter what, 20-year-old, yeah, okay. You know, maintaining the sannyas after for so many years, because although sannyas is recommended at a certain age, you know, when you have already raised a family, gone to vanaprastha with your wife, and then you're okay for sannyas. No, before. You don't care about all these steps. If you are so enthusiastic about preaching the glories of the Lord, there's no restrictions. And that was actually in the history of the movement, that was the qualification that all the devotees had. They were enthusiastic, spreading the glories of the Lord. And this is not something which is from the past. We should consider that it is still valid now, that the main qualification, men, women, sannyas, brahmachari, grihastha, whatever, the main qualification to be recognized by the Guru Parampara is to preach the glories of the Lord. This is the Yuga Dharma. Harel Nam, Heva Kevalam, Kalo Nasteva, Nasteva Gatyanyata. By doing so, we have opened doors for the mercy of Parampara, of all big people. Mahamantra Prabhu has always been a very nice example for me how to get big donations. When he came to Paris one day, I took him around and he was saying, because we visited a few places, Eiffel Tower, and there is also Napoleon. You've heard of Napoleon. Napoleon's tomb is a big monument with a golden dome. So Mahamantra said, there's a golden dome here? I thought only in Mayapur we'll have golden dome. So after this, he said, you know, you can build a temple in this city. What you need? Only 5 big donors. 5 Pandavas. And then, after you get the others. That was very nice, very inspiring. We still didn't succeed yet. But, you know, maybe it's a vision for the future to establish such a place in Paris one day with all your blessings. Haribol! Okay, maybe it's time for question or comments.
The deities are known Radha Parisissa, Ishwar of the Paris.
Sri Nitai Gaurasundar Prabhu K. Sri Radha Pariseshwar K. So we have some questions or comments. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. My question is that you said in the West there is attack on.
Sorry, I can't understand anything. Maybe someone, you'll repeat for me, yeah? Okay, go on.
Okay. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. My question is that in the West you said that there is attack on the family values, and it is the strategy of Kali. So how can we actually take such steps so that we can encounter these strategies of Kali that's happening?
She's saying that you had mentioned that there is an attack on family values,
Yeah.
which is the onslaught of Kali. So how can we take steps to counter this onslaught?
Just follow the Vedic Dharma. You know, it doesn't seem to me that India is affected that much, as much as the West so far, by this attack. Doesn't seem to me. Of course, we may argue that family life in India is so much materialistic, people don't put Krishna in the center, but still, we should appreciate families. And I think it is, still very much applied here. People are getting married, so far I can see, and family values are there, and all because India is very religious in a way, very pious, whatever the worship. But you can see that in all temples they really put the emphasis also on family, and so that's good. So we just have to maintain this. Maybe India as a country has something to teach the world. Because, in the West, maybe it's going in that direction, but they will have the counter effect of this. They start to get some problems. Like in France, how many, I was studying, I can be a little bit more precise now. French people or Western people, or white people, whatever you call them, not getting married, but in France, many people are still getting married. Which ones? Immigrants. Immigrants coming from North Africa, Arabic background, Muslim background. Huh? Moroccans, Algerians, whatever. France being a very friendly country for immigrants. We have people from all over the place. Iraqi, Africa, Black Africa as well. So these people are getting married. And when you figure out numbers, you question then in 50 years ahead of time, what will become the population of France? Wow! That may become Africa again, so what? So some sorry, I don't want to name the president of France here, but anyway, your foreign minister, Jai Shankar, said that France was like the Lakshman of India, so Haribo. Anyway, the president of France recently made a public announcement that we should have children. We need children. We don't have enough children. Please, have children. So somewhere or other, the devotees, they don't compete with this. But they will have a problem. They will have a setback. At some point, they will have a setback where it cannot go on like this. So what the world will be in 50 years of time, we don't know. It has been changing so much in 50 years, 100 years. So it will change again a lot. And about this change, we are not serious. We cannot predict. But the best thing to answer your question, the best thing to do is to just, follow the Vedic Dharma, that's all. You have a family, you have children, good enough, very good. you put the emphasis on these values, but we also respect sannyasis because they are giving the knowledge, they are helping, balance the things in society. And of course, as a movement, as a spiritual movement, we have a duty to raise questions to the population. Because in an atheistic society, you have, in order to convince people, you have to come with facts. So these are facts. When men marry men, they cannot get children. It's very clear. Very clear. So, thank you for this question. Other questions?
Questions or comments? Some of the questions or comments? किसी को कोई प्रश्न? Yes. Oh, yes. First him and then you. This is Professor Lakshman Nitai Prabhu from the Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi, IIT Delhi. Is also a disciple of Srila Radhanath Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you for a wonderful class. My question is with respect to Grihasthas. So this today's lecture was all about sannyas. Now how a Grihastha can practice this sannyasa dharma, especially which is said that we reach up to Vanaprastha where we together serve in temple. But we see also the life of Bhakti Vinod Thakur where toward the end, what I know, that he secluded himself in a small room, only engaged in the chanting the holy name of Lord. So, what is the suggestion for a Grihastha from you?
What's the suggestion for a Grihastha? One thing is that everyone's preaching, the stress was on preaching. But Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, towards the end of his life, he chose to seclude himself and meditate on the holy name and keep chanting. So, what could be the direction?
So it's very interesting that you mentioned Bhaktivinoda Thakur, because Bhaktivinoda Thakur, how many kids? 13. 13 kids. 13. I calculated, I saw because I read his biography, autobiography. One child coming approximately every 2 years. And look what Bhaktivinoda Thakur has done, spreading Namahata all over West Bengal, Orissa, and all over India, practically, and raising Bhakti Siddhanta and, perpetrating the Guru Parampara. Yeah, he came in seclusion at the end of his life, okay. But most of Bhaktivinoda Thakur's teachings are when he was a Grihastha. All the songs that we are singing, all the, so many precepts and instructions and teachings when he was a Grihastha, his mature realization when he was a Grihastha, but for his own, because he was such a worldly man, we can see that, so busy in the world, that he could not come to a seclusion before retirement. He came just really at the end, But these were the moments of his most profound ecstasies. So there is no, like Prabhupada. Prabhupada didn't go into samadhi just, and he was there surrounded by his disciples. He was not eating. He was in Vrindavan. At the end of his life, I heard Tamal Krishna Maharaj tell me this personally. He said Prabhupada didn't go in samadhi before the end, before departing from this world. And you know what Tamal Krishna Maharaj was, his close secretary at the end. He could witness, he would do anything, wash his body, anything, everything at the end, with Bhakti Chau Swami. So, yeah, these great personalities, their own bhajan, they sacrifice for the well of all of us. for the well of all humanity. But of course, they have the right to have their own bhajan also. And that's when they see it coming, ready, then they go in bhajan.
Thank you, Ravi. So this is Dr. Aditya Balram. He used to be only Institute of Medical Sciences, and he helps a lot in preaching in the AIMS also.
Okay.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji, for the lovely class. I have a question that Prabhupada gave sannyas to such young devotees, and they didn't know the Vedic culture and other things, but they still flourished like anything. What is your advice to the upcoming generation with the increasing influence of Kali, that they should stick to the process and they can also become successful? What is your one piece of advice?
Prabhupada gave this initiation and sannyas to so many young people who were not technically experienced in that sense, but they really flourished. So what's your advice to those of us in the younger generation? How do we take things forward so that we can also progress?
Younger generation, we have so many good examples now. We have no right to be lazy. We have no right to forget about the goal. The advantage of younger generation, uchayat nishkayat dharma, dharyat tatat karma pravartanat, uchayat, enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is there in younger generation, and also smart intelligence, how to innovate, how to take sometime Krishna consciousness to higher profiles, higher, sphere of influence. There are so many ways. So younger generation do not need to bother about being sannyas, being family man, that's not the point. The point is to spread the movement. And in order to spread the movement, we need everything. We need everyone. But we need especially your enthusiasm, and we need especially your intelligence applied to the ways of improving the reach out of the movement. Because reaching out, we need to improve. We are not reaching out to all the big influential people of this world.
Thank you, Rudy. So we conclude today's session. Thank you very much to His Grace Nitai Gaurasundar Prabhu K. Srila Prabhupada ki Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. आज दोपहर का प्रवचन ठीक यहीं पे होगा हिज ग्रेस वृजेंद्र नंदन प्रभु के द्वारा। और सबके लिए विशेष सूचना है, शाम को ठीक 6 बजे हमारे